Get your Reborn stuff at Big Bad Toy Store at the link in the description. Kaiju, turtles, Dragon Ball, and more. It's Steven's Toy Reviews. Hey, howdy, hey there, collectors. That was pretty impressive there, wasn't it? Yeah, pretty strong. It's Steven here on STR, because anyone else is going to be on STR? Trick question. There have been at least one other person here. Yeah. Anyway, today we have a nice special review because Rebor has actually dipped their toe into the Godzilla universe with the Rebor Oddities Specimen G 2016 Embryo. And this one comes in a few different colors. We will be taking a look at all three today. And it is going to come in Epoxide, Resonite, and Bakelite. Not sure if that's the actual pronunciation, but that's what I'm going to go ahead and go with. So originally, these were just an April Fool's Day thing where I believe they just kind of showed off what a prototype would look like. And there was a humongous positive reaction to this concept, and Rebor went ahead and they went with it. One of the drawbacks, though, is in the production process. It looks like there was something with a failure rate, apparently. Here's a little snippet from Rebor directly about what that kind of looked like from their Facebook page. Do they have an official website? If they do, please drop it in the comments below. So we have something that retails for about $60, and we do have a little bit of a quality control issue. So did that really transfer over to what made it into the market for what they were able to make? Or is this going to be one of the definitive Godzilla and or Evangelion collectibles that you should put in your collection? Well, let's take a look to see whether or not it's worth adding into your collection. 1, 3, or none. If you're a mint and seal box collector, you can pretty much just go ahead and take a look at the box online, print off a picture, and there you go. Or you can purchase it, whatever the case may be. But what I will say here is if you are going to purchase this after you see my review or you already have one in transit, what I can say is Rebor knocked it out of the park for the box. That slapping sound is actually me slapping one of the boxes. Slap the box, folks. The packaging for this actually really looks nice. All kidding aside, depending on how you display this on your shelf or in your detolf or however you want to go ahead and display this, you could actually probably display this alongside the box. That's how impressive this is. One of the things that I do want to warn you about, though, is the styrofoam, the foam insert that they use to actually protect the product in here. Do note that there may be some excess glue. On my Bakelite version, there was some excess glue in one of the corners, and I thought that was excess resin, and I was kind of afraid that all of them were going to kind of be ruined. Nope, it was just excess glue. I was able to just wipe it off, no problem, and honestly, you can't even really tell it was there to begin with, so really no harm, no foul, I guess. Put a pin in it. Let's take a closer look. Now, speaking of that closer look, we are going to go ahead and take a quick 360 spin view of all of them, but for the up close and personal look to see all of the quality stuff, we're really going to focus in on what the epoxide version looks like. Of course, we are going to take a look at the Resonite and the Bakelite version as well, but because the epoxide is clear resin, we're going to be able to see the details for the Shin Godzilla Embryo. Yeah, I mean, we're going to call it what it is here, folks. I mean, no one's going to be, no one's getting the wool pulled over their eyes here, okay? We're going to be able to see the details on the Shin Embryo as clear as possible with that one. And we'll take a look at the others. So, 360 spin view, we've kind of already gone through all three. You can kind of see what they look like, all the same, just different colored resins. Now, I will say the epoxide one, which is going to be clear, you're going to be able to make out the details for the embryo much better, though I will say, depending on the lighting conditions, the decals, the writing on it may be a little bit more difficult to read, depending on the lighting, whereas the Resonite version, you're pretty much going to be able to tell what the writing on it says in any condition, whereas the Bakelite version, it's going to be difficult to pretty much see anything, including the up-close photography. So enough talk, looking at it up close and personal. At the epoxide, wow, there is a ton of detail to be found on the Shin Godzilla Embryo. That eye is just absolutely creepy and really does capture the overall feel of Shin Godzilla. Pretty much all of the detail is clearly found here, except the only thing is that that second face on the tail really isn't there, which at this stage of the game, it's not. As Shin Godzilla will grow up, he will develop that second face, so no harm, no foul here on Rebor's part. Now, when you take a really close look at this, and it's actually more apparent on the other two versions, you can actually see a little bit of air surrounding the embryo there. Not really that big of an issue. That's kind of just comes with the territory. So, hey, that's just part of the process, not an issue. Now, I can't really get a good photograph of it, but it does look like there are a couple of small air bubbles surrounding it on the outside. That, I believe, is going to be part of the quality control that Rebor was referencing when it comes to the manufacturing process. And some of the small stuff like that, I'm not really going to knock them. I really would imagine that something like this, getting it perfect, isn't necessarily going to be something that they're going to be able to do when it comes to the casting. However, on all of them, there are issues concerning the paint and the actual sculpt. What am I talking about? Well, when we take a look at the Resonite version, there is a big paint chip on the back, and pretty much all of them have damaged sculpt. In particular, the dorsal plates having chips on them. Now, you can only really see them if you're looking at them at one particular angle, or if you're only going to get one of these, you actually may not even notice that there's a chip. So it's small, but objectively it's there. So I'm going to have to mention it, and if you're going to get yours, definitely take a look at it. But when we take a look at the Resonite one, it's very clear that there's a paint chip flipping it around to the back. So c'est la vie. Now, again, the actual details that they put into the Shin Godzilla embryo, they're fantastic. And I'm not going to lie, I kind of want to take a Dremel to this or crack it open just to get that embryo out and have it on display on its own. It's just that cool. Really, really cool. Now, taking a look at the decals and so forth that are on here, they're pretty high quality, and you're pretty much knowing what you're going to get here. Each one of them has their own decal on there saying which version you have, so there's no way you're going to get confused. Except for the oddball name. I mean, you can just call one clear, one yellow, and one red, or different kinds of oranges, but you know, it is what it is. Unique names make them stand out. And of course, there is going to be a warning about not dropping it or exposing it to radiation, which is pretty cute and tongue-in-cheek. Something that I was really able to notice on the clear one, though, is that we got some floaters in there. Yeah, that particular floater that I'm going to show you there, can't really get a good picture of it. I think I see some wings. So let's move on to closer details on the Resonite version. Now here, what I think is actually rather unique is that the parts of the Shin Godzilla embryo, which are closer to the surface of the overall casting, we actually get a clearer look at the details on the embryo. It sort of loses that overall coloring from the resin, and it looks a bit more clear, which I think is rather unique. Not sloppy, I think it's actually pretty unique. And then, like I said, the detailing here is very nice. We take a look at the decals, those are fine, and the text is all going to be the same except for that little sticker that says which version it is. Going ahead and flipping it on the back, that is the paint chip that I was talking about. Why this wasn't caught before it got put in the mold for the casting, don't know. I'm legitimately upset with this one. Why? All right. Finally, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the one that I believe is the worst one here. And by worst, I don't know, that's just my personal opinion, the Bakelite version. The Bakelite, it's very difficult to really make out the details here, and I am cranking it here in my editing program to get all those details out. So yeah, unfortunately here, it's very difficult to see the details on the Shin Godzilla embryo. So maybe you'll like the red one, maybe it's closer to a reference to the source material, which we'll talk about in a second. And yeah, I don't know. If you like this one, if it's up your alley and down your gutter, congratulations, you got it. But personally, I would say that the other two versions are a bit better for what they were trying to execute. Now we'll go ahead and move on over to a size comparison so this way you can see exactly how big this is. It's not really that tall if you were to display this on your shelf. In regards to how wide it is, I put one on its side, so this way you could see that it is about as wide as the Monster Art Shin Godzilla is tall. It's going to take up a nice amount of shelf space in regards to its footprint. So buy now, skip, or wait for a deal. For those of you who may not know, and we're going to go ahead and drop it here, this is a reference to Neon Genesis Evangelion, where one of the angels, Adam, is found, I believe it was in a briefcase, and it is one of the major important plot pieces. Yes, so we have Baby Shin Godzilla and Evangelion mixed together. Fantastic. If you're a fan of Shin Godzilla, you're a fan of Evangelion, this is what could possibly be one of the most ultimate collectibles, one way or another. If you're a Godzilla fan, you can get an Evangelion collectible. If you're an Evangelion fan, you can get a Godzilla collectible. However, for the price point, the quality, I don't necessarily think it is quite there. I think that just a little bit of extra time, they definitely could have hit the mark. It's fantastic to see that Rebor was able to accept that fans really wanted this based on just an April Fool's prank, but at the end of the day, come on, we can almost get there. We're just quite there. A little bit extra time in the oven, and we could have been there. But generally speaking, these are not bad purchases. Just wish the quality control was a little bit tighter. Well, collectors, that brings us to the end of the video today, and I just wanted to take a second to thank you so much for watching. Now you've heard a lot from me, I'd like to hear a little bit from you. Drop in the comments down below whether or not you liked it, you hated it, or maybe you were somewhere in between. I also want to take an extra second here for a nice, humongous thank you to all the patrons for SDR over the last month who have really helped the channel grow into what it can be today. So to all of you, 2 big thumbs up. Thank you very much. And now the end card should be popping up, which will give you a few clickable links, like maybe to subscribe or head on over to my Patreon, or some short URLs like to my social media or to my Teespring store. There's also a video I hand selected for you, so if you want to watch another STR video, I hand selected some good content for you to watch, so definitely check out that video. Thank you again so much for watching, and I'll catch ya in the next video.